All right, let's turn to New York politics, where some are walking away from the primary race without even a scratch, even though they're facing criminal charges. Taking battle with Congressman Michael Grimm. Grimm is leading his Democratic challenger, Dominic Recchia, in the polls by 44 to 40%, despite his recent indictment on fraud charges and the bad press he got for threatening to throw a certain New York One reporter off a balcony, oh, by the way, caught on film. Grimm also leading his own backyard of Staten Island by nearly double digits, that according to the new Siena poll. Dom, would you be shocked? We all thought there's no way. The Republicans didn't want him on their ticket. They won't even appear with him. He's got no money. He's got no campaign staff. Yet somehow, some way, he's winning in the polls.
Sometimes establishment means absolutely nothing. Establishment support. The New York One poll.
But money matters, right?
Yeah, money matters, of course. But the New York One poll showed that the trends are breaking towards Recchia. So even though Grimm is still up, but what the problem for Recchia is that, one, he doesn't live in Staten Island. You know, he lives in the Brooklyn part of the district. Yep. And two, even though Grimm is under serious criminal indictment, what, 21 counts, I believe, Staten Island, many voters there believe in protecting their own, staying with their own, and the sentiment of innocent until proven guilty. Even if he wins, chances are he's not going to be staying in office.
That polls in the margin of error, so we don't know who's leading right now. But there's a huge Republican base in Staten Island, and there's some feeling among Republican voters and other voters there that they're not entirely sure they believe the charges against Grimm. So
it's amazing.
It's going to be interesting. Plus, he's a name that they know. Recchia is not nearly as well known. I think this is going to be. You know what? I put money on saying this is the tightest congressional race south of Albany. Come election day.
Well, you got also a tight one in the Valley. But
I know, that's why I qualified as south of Albany. I'm including that.
Governor Cuomo obviously won the primary, but not by what people thought in terms of the margin. Zephyr Teachout here came away with 30-some-odd% of the total numbers when it was all tallied here, not the margin this man was expecting. And others said, you know, this was not so much a referendum on Ms. Teachout, but how progressives feel about the sitting governor right now. And the war of words, Andrew's already started here between the governor and the county exec. He may not want to acknowledge him by name often, but certainly his ads do.
Well, yeah. Well.
This weekend, when the Miami Dolphins come to town, we'll all be rooting for our Buffalo Bills. Well, everyone that is, except Rob Astorino. You see, Astorino is a Miami Dolphins fan. Governor Cuomo stood with us. He's delivered for Buffalo and all of Western New York. So this November, when Rob Astorino comes asking for your vote, let's remember who was on our team.
Dear Governor Cuomo, I went to a football game with my dad when I was 7. It was a really great day for me. It was one of my favorite pictures ever with my dad. It wasn't very nice of you that you cut me out of it. Do you really like chopping up Astorino family photos? We wouldn't do that to you. How about this one, Governor? Want to cut me out of this for a TV ad? Or this one? Before you cut out my pictures again, Mr. Cuomo, why don't you ask me first? And oh, while I've got you, stop telling lies about my dad on TV. Best regards, Sean Astorino.
Very cute kid, but what he was referencing was the picture of Astorino in his Dolphins jersey. His son was next to him. That got cropped out, but it got cropped out. First of all, I thought it was a stupid ad by Cuomo, and I think equally cute kid, very cute, but I didn't think the response really moved the needle much either. But the Cuomo campaign took it out because they didn't want to have a kid take a shot at a kid.
Well, you're not allowed to.
Right. So what's the argument? You should have left the kid
argument
in?
The argument is you're spending $1 million a week with negative attack ads, very little substance to any of them. But then again, that's how a bully thug will operate, and that's who we have as a governor, sadly. And you have to. The only way that you take down a bully is to take as many shots as possible at his character, rightfully so. So you know what? Can I ask
you a question?
Sure.
And I am talking to the author of The Unicorn Spot.
Yes.
Was that substantive?
It absolutely was. That is
You're the
satire.
best, TJ.
That
Yeah.
is satire of the highest order. No, you know what? We need to be serious about this. $1 million a week has been spent for months now by a guy making unsubstantiated claims with not talking about one issue, not one issue at all. And what that ad says, what that unicorn killer ad says is, look, anybody can play this game, but we're not going to. Governor Cuomo, let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about jobs. Let's talk about taxes. All right? That's what that thing said. And we said it with humor, and it was said with the highest form of satire.
We also did see 30 seconds of you're cutting me out of photos, right? What about
you
the
asked about the
policy of
unicorn
that?
ad. You
All right,
asked
fair
about the
enough,
unicorn
Fair
ad.
enough.
What makes you angry about the Cuomo ads? The fact that they're unsubstantiated, which so many political ads are, that he's spending $1 million
Doesn't make
a
it
week,
right.
and Astorino only has
$1 million
like six.
worth of wrong doesn't make it right.
No, no,
Say
but
it, say it right.
what's
$1
making you
million,
angrier? The disparity in the money, or
What's that?
what's making you angrier? The fact that the
What's making me
disparity in the
angry
money
is
is so
making me
great?
angry is a false narrative being driven by a thug and his money.
Rob Astorino is a Dolphins fan.
That's fine, and but
That
that's
part is correct.
There's the silly season. But when you talk about trumped up charges, when you talk about ads that talk about Rob Astorino and federal charges, that's a civil lawsuit being brought by a guy who was just indicted today.
You would never engage
I'm not going
in
to say
those
his name.
kinds
I
of
like
ads.
my legs.
You
What's
would
that?
never engage in that kind of ad campaign. You would never advise a client or support a candidate who
Not at
engaged
all.
in that kind of unsubstantiated negative advertising.
Nope. I don't. I stay in the light. I try to take the high road, and Andrew Cuomo
Dominic,
is the thug on the low road.
I will let you put a cherry on top on this one here. Candidates actually having attack ads and not doing substance. Have you ever seen it before?
So it makes it right.
I really like TJ. I really do. But Rob Astorino is swinging for the fences, and it doesn't look good. He's down 30 points in the poll. The clock is against him. He'll be governor one day, but as I said on day one, it will not be this year. And as a matter of fact, Teachout did Cuomo a favor. You know why? She woke him up.
Andrew Cuomo is under federal investigation. He very well could be indicted. He may have broken
I don't
many
know.
state
I don't know the
laws.
governors
And you know what's
under
really
federal
sad? We'll
investigation.
never know about the state laws because
But
you have
it's
because
also
the only
from the
way.
school of the TJ polling. The TJ,
Right.
he's not firstly under investigation.
Right.
They're looking in the Moreland Commission. Let's
Right,
not.
right.
Okay. Again here.
Guys,
very
this
clever
is-
unicorn ad here. Let me give you some props, right? Or as you said, the
Cheers.
killer unicorn ad.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Now, when we come back, we're going to get a little more serious. We're speaking with two survivors of domestic violence about how they were easily pulled into relationships filled with abuse and how they managed to make their escape. We're going to be right back with their really inspiring story. Stay with us.